I just realized I've never introduced myself. I'm Charlotte at The Working Writer, and I wanted to take a moment to do a little get to know me session. If you've been following The Working Writer, then you might know that I started it because I've worked in television for a long time. Over the last 10 years, I've worked for shows on Netflix, TBS, Comedy Central. I'm a comedy writer primarily. I did stand up for a while. I've done improv. And the purpose of this channel is really to empower creatives because I felt over my 10-year career that it was really hard to get a lot of the information that I needed, like how to navigate the relationship with my manager, how to navigate a career in Hollywood, period, how to navigate a creative career specifically, because I feel like a lot of us are more trained to work for someone else when creative careers are really about knowing how to work for yourself. So I just felt really lost for the majority of my career. I felt like I didn't have any mentors and I really needed that guidance. So that is the purpose of this channel, is to give you as much guidance and knowledge as possible so that you feel empowered as you go into your creative career. So about me, I was born in Haiti. I was born in Saint-Louis du Nord, Haiti. I'm Haitian to the bone. My family moved to the US when I was 4 years old. We moved to Florida, where most Haitians are. And after Florida, we moved to Massachusetts when I was 12. And so I feel like Massachusetts was really where I got a lot of my formative years. I lived in Norwood, Massachusetts. My family lived in Taunton, Massachusetts. We've lived all over Massachusetts. I went to college in Boston, Mass. I went to a small liberal arts Catholic college called Emmanuel College. I got a great education there. I got my degree in international affairs and global studies, which was not even like a real degree. It was just a degree I made up. I created my own major because I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I had multiple interests in a lot of things. And that major was basically like anthropology, sociology, some political science, some economics, some philosophy. I really just like made up my major. And I loved my major. I got an excellent education. I think liberal arts degrees really lend themselves well to creative careers because liberal arts degrees teach you how to think, and you need to know how to think if you're going to be a creative and working in the creative field. So that was good for me. I also had a deep interest in politics. I thought I was going to be a lawyer when I was in college. I interned for the Congressional Black Caucus in DC. I also studied abroad. I went to South Africa for my study abroad. Yes, I took on a lot of student loans and that was a huge mistake, but thank God I was able to pay them. So Jesus Christ, but dear God, I lived it up in college. I really enjoyed college. I loved it. And yeah, I thought I was going to be a lawyer because I had an interest in politics, but it ended up just not being something I wanted to do. I ended up interning for a lawyer in my hometown in Taunton, Massachusetts. And I just got to see his day to day. And I was like, oh, I really don't want to be a lawyer. So I decided not to do that. I did a lot of random things after college. I worked at another college. I got a real estate license because I just wanted to work for myself. I kind of bopped around. And then when I was working at a college, I just had like a front desk job at a college. And I just became very kind of like depressed because I in my heart wanted to move to New York City and just have an adventurous life. I wanted to try stand-up comedy. I never told anybody, I never told a soul that I wanted to try stand-up comedy because I was embarrassed. What kind of Haitian who's never stepped on stage? I did sing in the choir all my life, but that's not the same. I never did like any kind of theater in school or anything. Like I was, if you're a Haitian, if you're a Caribbean, if you're an immigrant, then you know that your job is to become a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, whatever. So being a comedian just was never in my conscious mind until it was. And so I basically got myself to New York. I ended up getting myself a job in New York City, all with the idea that I was going to try comedy. I ended up getting a job for Senator Kirsten Gillibrand. I worked, I ran her front office in her New York City office. So I have a real serious like political background, but I ended up not doing that. So I moved to New York City, got that job, and I started doing stand-up very quietly. I didn't tell a soul. And I also started doing improv. I actually started doing improv first. And the way that that happened was I was talking to a friend of mine, and he had just moved to LA. I had just moved to New York, and I was telling him how lonely I was in New York, and he told me that he had just taken an improv class in LA and he'd made a bunch of friends. So I ended up I found an improv class that same night, and I started level 0 at the People's Improv Theater. And that absolutely changed my life. I was always a really shy kid. I was always somebody who was mortified to be seen. And improv was just the scariest thing I'd ever done in my life. It just required that you not try to be in control all the time, that you actually really go with the flow, that you listen, that you're present, that you contribute. I think improv was one of the best training grounds I could have possibly had to have a creative career. If I hadn't done improv, I don't know if I could have ever done stand-up. If I hadn't done stand-up, I don't know if I could have ever been a television writer. I don't know if I could have ever created my web series that got me the jobs that it got me. So that's really like me, I guess, in a nutshell. So I'm gonna do another video where I talk about how I broke into television. So watch out for that one next.